I'm excited to be here to meet you.
Well, thank you. Thanks for coming out. Oh my gosh, I need you to look over there.
Hi, Belle.
Sorry.
Look, oh my goodness. We gotta get a picture of one of you guys out.
Yeah, I'll
That'd be wonderful.
So you and I were talking a little bit backstage about, there was a behind the scenes kind of talking about when you got the role of Beauty and the Beast.
Yes.
Can you tell, like, people who haven't really seen that story, what was it like being cast for the movie?
You know, I'm an old Broadway girl, and I've always auditioned well, but I've never been the kind that walks in and says I have the job. But it was really strange with Beauty and the Beast. I kind of felt like this was my part from the moment I read the script. You know, it was just, she was like me. And that's also what makes it a little difficult, because it's sometimes a lot easier to play a role that's opposite of you or different from you, and you can hide behind the character. But then when the character is you, there's sort of a vulnerable situation in your heart, you know, trying to put that out there. But Howard Ashman and the directors, they all said, Paige, yeah, because I would kind of wander off into this other thing, and they said, no, she is you. That's what we want. We want a womanly princess. She was the oldest. They don't get that right sometimes, but Howard Ashman told me she was in her early 20s. That was their idea of what she was. And so I had an old school quality anyway about my voice, and it was just kind of wonderful to kind of let all of that go and just let myself come through in this part.
That's awesome. And I know sometimes the mannerisms of the voice actors make it onto screen. So what in particular did you see of yourself?
Oh, all the facial expressions, the hair in the eye. Yep. I had the long hair in the eye, and they just pick up all these little things and go with it. It was funny, they used a ballerina for the walk, but sometimes I walk like that, depending on the role I'm playing at the time. Sometimes I walk like a boy when I played Hubandrud, but certain things, it's really kind of fascinating. If you look at all the characters, Jerry Orbach, you know, and Mrs. Potts, they all modeled them after us.
That's really interesting. And you said you have a Broadway background too. So what was it like going from Broadway to voice acting? Because you're not as big with your movements, and it's more about your speaking voice and your singing voice.
Well, you know what? It really wasn't that difficult. It was the only big challenge really was to make it really subtle, because it was the same thing as creating a role on stage, only the camera is right here, and that's what they kept, telling me to do. Just remember, the camera's right here. You don't have to play it in the second balcony up at Norman, and so it was just learning to do that. And actually, Robbie Benson came on a month later after I was cast, and it really all came together. Robbie being a film star and a director, and he helped me with technique for that, and we just really, the whole relationship clicked once Robbie came on. So.
That's awesome. And then I wanted to bring up, in case people don't know, about the art side of your career. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Well, I signed with Disney Fine Art about 10, 12 years ago. I've always been a painter and artist. I would sell my watercolors on the streets of New York to pay the rent, and I would copy famous artists. And I did some of the paintings were of Disney characters, and it was kind of wonderful. You know, when I was unemployed, as you are a lot when you first go to New York. I was only 17. I would paint at night and then sell the paintings on the street, and it would also help me during the time period where I wasn't working. And I just, immersed myself in painting. And so it was kind of a great honor to be asked to do it. And now I'm loving painting the other princesses. I'm just loving that a lot.
So where can we see that? You're actually good at it.
Well, you guys could go on PaigeO'Hara.net, and it has all the artwork and everything on that. But we were in the gallery in Las Vegas, Magical Memories, but with the pandemic, it closed, unfortunately. But it's all available on the internet.
That sounds awesome. And you said PaigeO'Hara.com?
.net.
.net. Everyone. And you are painting other princesses. So do you have, I don't want to put you on the spot about, obviously Belle is your heart, but do you have one that you find to be more enjoyable to paint than maybe say someone else?
Oh, I love painting Ariel. I got to paint, Jodie's one of my dear friends, and I got to paint Ariel for the Steelbook when Little Mermaid came out. And And actually, Jody's husband literally just bought those from us, the 2 paintings, and surprised Jody for her 60th birthday party last weekend with the paintings. So I get a crying Jody on the phone, and it was all really, really cool. So, of course, we gave it to him like half price. But I don't know if you guys knew this, you might have seen it. I painted an aerial for her last year when we did the D23. So now she's got 2 portraits, and she's got the one in the ocean when she's swimming in the ocean. So that's kind of cool. And Linda Larkin is a good friend who's the voice of Jasmine, and of course Irene Bedard you're going to see here. And
yeah, she's next in this room actually.
yeah. So we get the princess thing going. We have like the conversation and we'll get 4 or 5 of us at the same time, typing away and doing our thing.
Wait, do you have a
Group
princess
chat.
group chat?
We have group chats.
Oh
Yeah.
my god. That's awesome. Okay, so singing, acting, voice acting, painting, like what don't you do? Like, is there a thing you're like, I would like to learn this?
I'm all right brain, no left brain. My husband won't let me touch his computer because I always mess it up. That's my husband over there, Michael.
Say hi, Michael.
And Michael is actually, it's all in the family with Disney. He was the Beast in the Broadway version. So he played it in LA for a long time. So that was kind of cool. And then when they did the Ice special, couldn't find a guest star that they were happy with, so they had Michael switch and do guest star for the Ice special. So you can see him on that.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's awesome. Go, Michael.
Yeah, we've been married now for 31 years. There's some show business relationships do last. And it's funny, he's the only guy I ever chased, to be honest. They usually chase me, but no, I had to chase Beyonce, or my Polish prince.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you mentioned doing art for Disney and painting the princesses. And I saw that you're a Disney legend. And I know that, we all know that, but is that like an official title? Like what is that?
Yes, it is
Can you tell us
actually.
more about that?
I know, it's like pinch me, I still can't believe it, and I have my big bronze award that weighs like 100 pounds on my piano. I just look at it and it's just like I pinch myself that I'm still, that we are that. Jody and Leia Salonga and myself, Linda Larkin, and Anika and Nani, we all got it the same night. It was really special. Yeah.
That sounds so magical. I love it. You want to take some questions?
Sure.
Go ahead.
Okay, I know that you live in Las Vegas now and have been performing there for many years since the 90s. What exactly were the circumstances of you going to Las Vegas initially for the Radio City Music Hall show they had at the Flamingo for a few years?
Well, I was asked to go and replace Susan Anton, who had been doing it. She wanted a time off and break, and they actually rewrote it for me to do it. I was just approached by Rich Martini, who knew me from, and he's a Broadway producer, and he knew me really well. And Beauty and the Beast, I had come out, so I had a certain following. They didn't have to worry too much about box office. I said the Rockettes sell themselves; they don't need my name on there. But but we went out there for planning to be there for a year, and we never left. We've been living there since '97. Yeah. So it was great. I love working with the Rockettes. It's really funny. Alan Menken wrote a song called "I Wanna Be a Rockette," but I'm only 5'3", but it's a whole little funny song. And so the middle of the show, the Rockettes they are literally that tall. So they put me in the middle of them in this tap number, and they're all dressed in these little skirts, and they're tapping, and then they move over and they go like this, and I come running down, and I start doing the tap dance with them, and I'm jumping up and down to try to match the height. The audience, like my Fanny Bryce moment, the audience loved it. It was great fun, and I actually learned to do the killer step. They call it the killer step. I'm not going to do it now. But it is a killer step, and I have a little bit of pulled Achilles right now from running. But it was really fun.
Can you describe it? You don't have to do it. I don't want you to hurt yourself.
Hop, shuffle, step. Ba-ba, ba-ba, hop, shuffle, step. And then you do 5 hops in a row. Ba-ba, ba-ba, ba-ba. Eyes are jumping.
Yeah.
And then you
That
do
sounds
this.
killer.
Ba-ba. It was like, no, I better not.
No. Michael's like, no.
I'm not nice. Yeah, I got the
Don't hurt yourself for us.
I love to run, and I just can't like get it in my head that I'm 65 instead of 45. So I was sprinting, and I was like, I think I sprinted a little too hard today. Okay, wake up, smell the coffee. So any other questions with that? Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, I didn't know you were.
Sorry. All right, ma'am, pleasure to meet you, and just wondering, I know it's been 30 years, 30 plus years, and I realize that most times in voice acting you are alone in the booth, but I'm certain there were times when you and Robbie were playing off of each other. Was there a scene where you just clicked, first off? Or did,
I'm trying to think what was the first one, because we didn't start in order, the movie. We started later, went back to the first scene. So I think it was the fight scene when she's, mending his wounds and stuff for the wolves. I think that was the first scene I recorded, and he was so shocked when I yelled at him. And they loved it, they wanted her to have spunk, because, if you hold still, it wouldn't hurt as much, and she's like, then, So we kind of got it all out in the open on that scene. And everything clicked with Robbie. I recorded off and on for a month before he was even cast. They had one other gentleman come in who was a voice actor, voiceover person, but he wasn't a real actor. They wanted real Broadway actors. So if you look at all of us, we're all of the principals were Broadway actors. And they looked at it as a Broadway show in animation. So, but Robbie, oh man, I hope you guys get to meet him. He's so special. He and his wife Carla met doing Pirates of Penzance on Broadway. She replaced Linda Ronstadt. She was the lead. Oh my gosh, his wife, talk about a great singer. Unbelievable, 4-octave range. And it was like love at first sight. And his first child was born the night of the Oscars that we were there, so he wasn't at the Oscars.
It's a good reason to miss it.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you.
Hi. I know we talked a little bit about the Beauty and the Beast musical. Disney announced a few years ago they plan to bring it back to Broadway. Would you ever appear in just maybe Mrs. Potts or just a random villager or
Belle?
Well, of course. I'm an actress. I like to play. I'm actually the same age now that Angela was when she was Mrs. Potts, which is kind of ironic, isn't it? Weird. I don't know. I just still can't believe I'm an old lady.
You're not an old lady. You're absolutely not.
You're young at heart.
No, I love playing different parts. And actually, when I first got my major roles on Broadway, I was a character actress in the beginning. I played the funny comic parts. And then I worked my way, as I got older, in my late 20s, to the leading lady parts. So, and I was in early 30s when I got Belle. But my first role was Ellie in a showboat comedy. A dancer, which I'm not, which I had a brilliant choreographer who made me look like a dancer, which was great, Pat Birch. But an Ada Annie in Oklahoma, those are the parts I played. And then I segued over into playing Drood and then Evita. I did for a long time, everywhere. Played Maria in Sound of Music, over 2,000 performances for Sound of Music. And that was my money job, That and Evita, they were like 4 years where I did 4 years of both those parts.
I didn't realize they ran that long.
Yeah, that's good. And then Edwin Drood, which was really one of my favorite roles. Betty Buckley, you guys know Betty Buckley, right? She originated it, and I remember when she came to see it when I was in it. She came up afterwards. You remind me of a little me. She's like, and she just kind of became my buddy, and we hit it off. Michael and I went to go see her in Hello Dolly last year, no, the year before the pandemic. Brilliant. She's still brilliant as ever.
Thank you. Hi.
Hi. Also, thanks for being here. It's awesome. If you were to take a modern day princess, what would she be? What would she do? What were kind of some characteristics you think she'd have?
Do I have characters I have like her?
No, if you were to make a modern day princess, what would she be like?
She'd be like Bella. And I throw a little Mulan in there, and she'd be a kick butt Belle, you know?
Belle with the sword, yes.
I actually, I love Mulan. I love the martial arts. I try to do them. My husband and I were taking kickboxing together, and the pandemic hit it. We miss it. But yeah, I would definitely see it. You mix the brains and the brawn, and you've got a cool princess.
Awesome, thank you.
Well, speaking of princesses, I know personally, growing up, there was just a lot of, the ingenues, damsel in distress, and then Belle came along and kind of changed the game. And I feel like that's what resonates so much with fans, especially female fans, because it was so nice to see a princess who could yell at the beast and take charge, and reading was cool. Oh my gosh, because I was that girl. I was the girl indoors with books.
Absolutely.
And that was a cool thing to do, and that was a princessy thing to do. So I think that about, with Belle and her characteristics, I feel like it's timeless, and I feel like Belle would work now, and Belle with the sword sounds amazing. So kickboxing Belle, I'm on board with those.
Well, Howard Ashman and Alan Menken literally put in their own money into Little Mermaid. They begged Disney to produce it, and they co-produced it with them, just because Disney they thought it was dead. It was never going to come back. So they took a chance at Little Mermaid, and think about that. If they hadn't pushed for that project, all of these musicals in the last 32 years wouldn't have happened. It's quite astounding, actually, to think what Howard Ashman did for, not only for us, but for the company.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Yes. I was just wondering, what did you think of the live action remake in comparison?
I really liked it. I wish they hadn't gone so dark. Michael and I were there actually opening night. I have a cool story I'll tell you about Emma in a minute. I just love her.
Amazing.
But I've kind of made it known I hate the guns at the end.
Yeah.
And actually, Don Hahn didn't like it either. He was outvoted on that. I wanted to see them do the old-fashioned fight, And in the darkness with Kevin Kline's character, Maurice, and leaving him tied up for the wolves. I mean, that's why they had to make it PG, because that alone, the wolf thing with him, Kevin Kline, they said this can't be a G movie. So I wish they had stuck a little more with the original that way. However, all saying all that, I thought it was brilliantly executed. I thought it was gorgeous to look at. I thought Emma was adorable. I loved Dan Stevens. Oh my God, so good.
His
Luke
voice.
was great too. The Beast.
Dan Stevens'
Oh my
voice.
gosh.
I had no idea, and then I was like, 'cause
I went into
yeah.
mourning when he died on Downton Abbey. I mean, I was like, oh my God! And they were writing this character off. If you guys ever saw him, you gotta watch Downton Abbey.
Spoiler, but still watch it.
He's such a good actor. Oh my gosh. Now Legion, his new show, is too intense for me. I get nightmares from it.
It's a whole thing. That show, we watched that, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't tell you my Emma story real quick.
Do you want to hear the Emma story?
Real quick.
Yeah.
Of course, I was excited. I wanted to meet her and everything. And Michael and I were there. And there were millions of paparazzi and people all around us, and almost like squished in there. And her person, handler, whatever, came over and found me and said, Emma wants to meet you. And so we kind of squeezed our way through the crowd. And I was about as far from her as you are. And she went, Paige! Oh my God! And everybody's turned around, the pictures are flying, we're hugging and kissing and talking and laughing. And then she said, please take a picture with the cast. And so Alan and I got to join the cast photo. And it was really cool. And then she sent me I got a couple of emails from her after that, which was very cool. She's a very busy person, though, so we're not in touch, but I love her and she loves me. It's just, she did say to me, she said, you'll always be Belle. And I said, well, you'll always be that beautiful character, I still see that little girl when you look at her.
Hermione Granger?
Hermione, yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful. That's a fun story. I like that she respected that you originated the role, and it seems like she was also a fan, which I think is really fun.
Oh, huge fan. I thought she was an excellent choice, and she and I sent messages through Don Hahn a few times. She was petrified to sing. I mean, she'd never sung before. And I just kept trying to encourage her, work with the best coaches over there. She was in France. If she'd been in America, I would have helped her with it. But I thought she did great.
Hi. 2 questions. How'd you come up with the voice of Belle? And the other question was, what was it like working with the cast when you did Wreck-It Ralph?
That's a whole other story. Okay, you got 20 minutes then. Well, the voice of Belle is mine, so that was like easy. I tried to change it. I did try to alter it a little bit because I was, I think, 32 when I was recording it, and I wanted to sound more like 22. So I would raise it up here a little bit, and they said, "Hey, stop, cut." And it's like, no, we want the warmth of your own voice, And so that was, and in terms of singing, it's funny. I was really known more as a Broadway belter, but I had taught myself how to sing soprano, so I would open up other roles, and I kind of incorporated the two in that character. So that was kind of cool. John McGlynn actually helped me find that part of my voice. He was a musicologist, one of the most respected in New York. He would get all the old Broadway scores and do revisions and all that stuff. And he, a conductor, and he ended up putting together the Showboat recording. That's the entire Showboat recording. It's the only one ever produced. Well, thank you. It was great. We had 2 opera singers in the leads, Frederica Bunstata and Jerry Hadley, both very respected. And Frederica was a hoot. She was, oh my God. She talked like this. Hi, Paige. This little, the opera singers have that resonance, It's like, I remember her coming up to me one day. She said, "Oh, Paige, you're so cute and so funny. How do you belt?" I was like, okay, Flick, I'll show you how to belt. Because she was going to play the daughter on the recording too, as well as Magnolia, and she wanted the daughter to belt. So this opera team was like, "It's getting hotter in the north every day." I'm like, no. The chest. "It's getting hotter in the north every day." She within an hour, she's belting this part. We laughed. Oh my God. The musicians were hysterical laughing at her. So that was a fun story. Google Frederica Bunstata. You'll freak over her voice.
Just like her speaking voice, that's how she spoke.
Oh, she always spoke like that. That was the only criticism from the critics of the album, was that, because we did a lot of the dialogue, that she couldn't make her speaking voice sound normal. That is normal for her.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's awesome. And you said that you had some stories about Wreck-It Ralph and that
Wreck-It Ralph. The only time we were together was when we partied. We had a princess party. We had, first was the little, right before with the D23, we were all together, and we saw the whole clip for the first time together, and we're all laughing and carrying on, and then we had a party that weekend, and then we had another party when it opened. So I just knew all the girls and us drinking wine and having a blast, It was fun.
I wish there was a camera on that, as much fun as the end.
They should have. They should have had it. Because you definitely see some funny things going on.
Did you have a question?
And Mandy Moore is as cool as everybody thinks. I have to just say that.
I haven't met her, but I've heard great things about her.
Oh my God, she is just so talented and so humble, and huge fan.
And the show, I don't know if you watched the show, the Tangled show, is actually the lore on that show, and the singing she does on that show, you should watch it.
Yeah, she's amazing.
Absolutely.
And I'm jealous because she's tall.
She could be a rockette.
She could be a rockette, definitely. She's 5'10" or something.
Hello. Hi, it's an absolute pleasure to meet you, by the way. So my question is, when you originally got the role of Belle, did you think that she would be as iconic as she is now, with being a classic Disney princess and everything else?
That's a good question, because I knew that she was special when I read the script. I didn't know how well she'd be embraced by the public, which I thought was really telling. Jodie kind of started out with Ariel. They just embraced Ariel. She was more like a younger, feisty person. Belle was more of a womanly, feisty person. But the fact that she was so embraced so well, no, I did not know that. I did know the night that we had the unfinished version at the film festival. The fact that New York critics, and I know New York critics, they're the toughest in the world. all stood on their feet for 10 minutes after the film was shown, to the point they kept screaming for us to come on stage. So Jeffrey Katzenberg and Don Hahn, myself, Kirk and Gary, the directors, we all came on stage. And so I thought, this is going to be bigger than I think any of us thought. And of course, then before you know it, we're nominated for Best Picture. And I'll never forget that. Jeffrey Katzenberg called me to tell me that. And he said, by the way, do you want to sing your song on the awards? I was like, really? Because I heard that they're going to have pop stars do all of our songs. And Jeffrey said, well, I took care of that. Later I found out, Jeffrey told them that he wouldn't have our songs if he didn't let the original artists sing them. So that was a really big thing he did for all of us.
Awesome. And what was that like, taking that stage? I mean, you have a Broadway background, but I feel like that's just like a different moment. What was that
Oh my
like?
God, well in the rehearsal, my microphone didn't work. And I kept doing it, I did the rehearsal. Debbie Allen had choreographed it, so I'm on stage with all the little kids playing the townspeople, and Richard White guest on that day. And it was really fun, except for the horrible dress they put me in. It looked like Little Bo Peep. It had like, oh my God, you guys saw it, you can Google it. It was like all these like checkers, yeah, and then the pantaloons, right? It looked like Bo Peep. And I'm literally I'm sharing a dressing room with Celine Dion, who is just becoming a big star now. And she's so much younger than I, but she handled it so well. They came in to ask her if she would wear red instead of black, because she was singing with Angela, and Angela was going to wear the same color. And she said, no, I paid a lot of money for this dress. I'm wearing black. Thank you. First time. And I'm sitting here looking at my dress in the mirror, and how can I? Well, I won't say what she said, but she said, you have to learn, Paige, to be yeah. Here it is, this younger girl telling me, and she was absolutely right. I should have said, no, I won't wear this, but I didn't want to hurt the designer's feelings. So, there you have it. Other than that, it was great. When I did come out, the great Angela Lansbury is the one introducing me, and I've idolized Angela my whole life. And when I first went to New York, I would sneak in at intermission at Gypsy to watch her do the second act and do Rose's Turn. I think I did it like 6 times, and I'm just a huge fan. So it was really cool to get to know her, and it was also kind of cool that she was as nervous as I was, and huge star. I didn't expect her to be nervous at all. And we're both like shaking in the wings, like this. And I said, Angela, you're nervous? She said, when you get to be my age, you'll learn when you're supposed to be nervous, this is it. So, and then she said, but if I sang like you, I wouldn't be nervous. And she literally patted me on the butt like I was a little kid. And she walked out, her grand red dress, looking gorgeous, and introduced me, and I came out, and I was pretty nervous, and I looked at the audience like, you're Barbara Streisand, you're Warren Beatty, it was like unbelievable, and I just kind of, okay, you got this, you're a Broadway actress. They give you the option to lip sync or not, and I was like, I am not going to lip sync, thank you very much, I'm a Broadway singer. No. So, it was all good, so.
That's amazing.
Yeah, they had come with the lip sync idea because Madonna, I guess, forgot her words the year before on the song. Was that what it was? And had she lip synced, that would have saved her. But you know what? That makes it exciting. It's live. That's what it's all about. And you're not perfect. I'm not going to be perfect ever, as much as I want it to be.
Do you have a question?
Yeah, I'm a question, kind of a statement. I'm trying to remember if you attended one of the Broadway princess parties in New York. They had sometimes some of the older Broadway people come back. It's like at a bar, and then they would sing like these old Broadway show tunes. And if you haven't done it, would you try to contact them and do it? They put it on YouTube sometimes. Because obviously I've never been to New York.
So in New York, there's a Broadway princess party, and they sang old show tunes.
Yeah, so I can't remember the chick from Smash was in it, and the guy from, yeah, and a bunch of other people that are like the younger generation do it, but occasionally, I want to say they might have had Pocahontas or someone.
Did Susan Egan do it?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, Susan's doing. She's still singing Bell concerts and stuff.
Okay, you should totally see if they would. If you ever go to New York, and obviously not
Yeah.
Because they seem fine with, inviting extra people and they're actually doing.
I think it would be fun to go back, and I actually think it would be fun for Susan and I to do a duet.
Yeah, they do all sorts of
You know,
things.
she's talk about Betty saying that to me. I looked at her and I said, "You're like a little me," you know.
Yeah.
She was Michael's Belle, so that was kind
On
of cool.
Broadway?
Seeing them too. They did L.A. and Los Angeles.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really cool.
And I think I'm little. I'm tall next to Susan. And she's like this little tiny little thing. She's adorable. I love her. But yeah, that'd be fun. That'd be a lot of fun.
Try to.
That's so cool. And Terry Mann, I'm a big fan of Terrence Mann too. He's a brilliant beast, but he wasn't as brilliant as my husband. I'm being honest. But Terry was really good, and it was great. He's my second favorite on stage. But Michael was more like Robbie, which I liked. The director didn't like Michael being like Robbie Hudson, though.
No?
No, he wanted every shtick, every laugh, everything, and Michael was going for the heart and soul of the beast, which Linda Wolverton saw Michael and she said, "Oh, it's perfect, it's just what I want." Of course, the director comes back, "Okay, you tried making him, more real and whatever. I want all the laughs back, put him back in." So, that's what it is.
Yeah, so that was the Broadway show. Is it
Yeah.
is it any different? I've not seen the Broadway show, I've seen clips.
Yeah, they went much more for a goofy beast,
Okay.
They went more for comic effect. And I think some of the soul disappeared with the piece with that. However, Susan having that song written for her, oh my God, the home song, I would have given my right arm to have had that song in the movie. That really established her so well. And when Beauty and the Beast was done, there was like a formula. You never went past 90 minutes because they said kids won't watch it. Now the kids watch it for 3 hours. So that's why I didn't have my own long song. Oh well.
Yeah. And so with Broadway, is there a show that is like you are a super fan of that show? I know you've mentioned quite a few, and you've mentioned certain actresses and actors. Is there one that is your go-to? You will see it every time you can. You listen to the soundtrack. Like, what are you?
Gypsy.
Is it Gypsy?
Yeah. It's the perfect book, the perfect score, the perfect drama of Mama Rose and the daughter Louise. It's literally when they play the overture, I just cry and get goosebumps. I mean, just one of those scores that, it's I love a lot of the new musicals. I do. I just miss a lot of I miss the old style of melodies. Jerry Herman. I worked with Jerry Herman. I toured with Jerry Herman with his act, and I got to work with him and sing with him and those songs. Oh my God, from Maeve and Hello Dolly, they're brilliant. So I'm definitely, I'm kind of a dinosaur, to be honest. I am.
Those are just like big belty. A lot of those numbers, I feel like they were so suited for your voice too. Are you going to reprise any roles that you've done and being now in Vegas?
Well, no one will cast me as Mama Rose. However, they cast Bernadette Peters, and she's much sweeter than I am. And she's much prettier and younger looking than I am. But she pulled it off. But you know what? The role that I really want to play, that I'm actually perfect for now in my life, is Auntie May, which Angela Lansbury created, because Mame was my mother. My mother was Mame. It's easy, just play my mother. It's like, So that's one, if I get back on stage, I'd like to do that.
Awesome. Oh, hello.
Hi. So, it doesn't look like it, but I actually cosplay Belle, and I can't even tell you how many YouTube videos I've watched, how many times I've seen the movie, because it is one of my favorite movies of all time. Belle is my princess. Do you have any personal things that you can recommend in order to get into that character? She is so far-fetched from my personality, it exhausts me, and I praise you.
It's, do you have any qualities that you see as yourself as Belle?
Just spunky, really. I play better Tinkerbell than I do Belle.
Aww. Well, I think you just have to approach it from, to play Belle, as you're saying, how you would approach it?
Yes, like constant YouTube videos of like Disney meets and like actually going to Disney and talking to Belle, trying to pick up on the mannerisms and the personality and how she would answer a question. I remember this one little boy came up to me and it was like on the spot. He was like, what does the beast do at home? I'm like, or what does he do with his claws?
Oh.
And I'm like, well, he cuts up dinner sometimes, he chops up wood, and it was just like a random like improv moment that I had.
You don't need advice, that's perfect what you did. I mean, that's perfect. You know, Belle is always incredibly kind. That doesn't mean she doesn't have a sense of humor, she does. But there's a one way of showing that sense of humor and one way of being cruel in your sarcasm and being funny and just loving it. Belle is really just a search your soul kind of girl. You know, I say I'm a dinosaur, Belle was a dinosaur. She, in some ways, she was old school in terms of, like, if you look at the fact that she gave up her life for her father right away. You know, I mean, there's things about her that were not of a child or a young teenager. Had an old soul. But she was a very modern thinker in terms of where women were in society at that time, what she wanted adventure. She was not looking for a prince. That was just something unheard of back then. And in reality, if she's 21, in that time period, she would definitely have been considered an old maid. But what's kind of cool is she could care less, you know? So that's kind of special. She's just a free thinker. You know, if you play Belle again, just open your mind and your heart and keep the sense of humor.
Definitely. Thank you so much.
Okay.
You know, Belle doesn't really take anyone's nonsense.
No, she doesn't take the nonsense, no. In fact, Richard White is an old friend. We played opposite each other in many shows. And he was the voice of Gaston, as you know. When we first recorded together, I came out with some doozies. And they said, oh, we love that, but you can't do that, Paige. It's not Belle. That's Paige now. We had a great time. Richard's awesome. You'd love Richard if you met him. He's a hoot. He is very funny, like Gaston. He isn't like Gaston, but he's funny.
Funny, yeah. We need to get all we have Michael, who's not officially here, but have like the Gastons and the Beasts
Oh,
and
I
the
love
Princes.
it.
I think
Wouldn't
that
it
would
be
be really
fun?
fun.
It would
Whoever's
be
listening
awesome.
from Wizard World Fan Expo. I think that would be really cool too.
Richard and I actually went to Egypt together.
Oh yeah?
We did Showboat at the Opera House in Egypt. He was around and all. And I remember Michael and I had just met. And just kind of, I already knew it's a whole long story, but Rob Marshall and I were working together, and I kept talking about Michael. He says, you just need to call this guy. You need to go after him. And I was like, because of Robbie, I finally got to get a date with Michael. And I asked Michael if he wanted to go to Egypt with me for 2 weeks on our first date. And he said, no, I don't think so. And what if we didn't get along? I mean, you know, it would be whatever. So we started dating officially when I got back from Egypt. But Richard White and I had a blast. We laughed. Oh my God. It was one of those opera houses where you don't have any microphones. It was all acoustical. And so it's staged differently without the mics and whatever. But we worked hard. We sang out Louise, as Mama says, sang out Louise. Well, we did. It was fun.
Awesome. And I don't see a clock in here. Anyone yell out the time for me? Okay, so I have time. One more question.
One more question is, because you're part of the Disney franchise, which I absolutely love Disney, if you could pick any other character as a princess that you would have gravitated to more than Belle, would you have taken other voice roles in the Disney franchise?
Any of the existing princesses?
Yeah.
Mulan. I just love her. I idolize Mulan. I just think it's brilliant. Not only the acting, but Leia's singing in it as well. But Ming-Na was brilliant in that. And I'm going blank on the one who did the live action. What was her name? You guys remember? She was amazing. That's my, okay, old age dementia. You got it.
You are not old, Paige.
No, I'm still thinking I'm 45. That's why I go out and sprain my ankles and running like I think I can still run like that. Anyway, she was great. If you guys haven't seen the live action, I think it's really slow in the beginning, but once you get into it, you're hooked. So, did you guys like Raya and the Last Dragon?
Oh, that was
Wasn't that brilliant? I was stunned by it, and the beautiful girl who played it, and we did a little video for her and stuff saying, welcome to being a princess and all that, and they showed her reaction. She started crying when I said it. It was so sweet. She was so adorable.
That was visually, that was a really pretty movie too.
It's great. And she was, talk about a cake-butt princess, she was great. She was awesome.
All right, so do you mind if we have the bells come
Oh,
up here
please,
to take
come
a
on up,
picture?
come on up, Bells.
So you guys just want to line up in the front of the stage
Line
here?
up, take a picture, please.
But thank you so much for being here. We're so
Aw,
happy.
thank you.